All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic start to the AM here. Happy Tuesday and welcome to what should hopefully be a little bit of a breakout day here, or at least we're setting up for that in the short term. Looking like we might finally get a little bit of a resolution here this morning. And it certainly makes a little bit of sense, right, with CPI dropping here this AM. Pretty enthusiastic reaction here, right, to finally give us that potential breakout opportunity. So, crossing our fingers, right, that today's a nice and consistent trading day with like generally smooth market conditions. The base expectation, though, right, is that it's going to be choppy and indecisive and that the move has happened here overnight until we get a proven otherwise, right? So just because it looks like it's going to be a mega monster trend day doesn't mean it's actually 100% guaranteed to be that, right? I think there's a really good probability that things still could get a little bit slow because that's what we've seen for the vast majority of time here recently, right? So base expectation is that it's going to be slow. We're hopeful that we can change that, right? We're hopeful that we can get our nice bit of momentum here, but we're not going to get tunnel vision chasing. Instead, we're just going to try to focus, right, on really controlling the variables we can control, define what makes a trade strong before we enter any positions, and then look to basically execute that plan, right, as well as we possibly can. So from a trading perspective, right, there's not going to be a difference in that mindset or that approach. I think we still want to be deliberate. We still want to be really focusing on the fundamentals, and that's going to be the obsession here this morning. Breakout through all-time highs is a fantastic pre-market setup condition. So let's just see if the market has that enthusiasm, and if it can kind of shrug off some of the cobwebs maybe that it's developed for itself inside this sort of period of pseudo consolidation. With that being said, right, we're still seeing the market pretty well. I actually really like how I traded yesterday. Thinking back on it a little bit, it was a good day because it was a very, very good process day. I think, right? We didn't allow too many trades to really get out of hand. We traded the price action in front of us. We trusted our narratives and we stuck to our rules. We didn't do anything outside of those structures, and I found that to be a very, very positive. I think just set of processes, right? Really, in what was a really choppy kind of like opening 2 hours, 2.5 hours yesterday. So if we just continue to do that, right, we continue to focus on the variables we can control, then yeah, we're gonna be just okay, and we're gonna keep stacking up green days. It's not really about trying to swing for home runs here at the moment. It's about surviving and basically getting our base hits. And that's all we're really trying to focus on, right? Just stacking up enough of those base hits. They turn into something pretty spectacular here pretty quickly. And we're really just focusing on, controlling our variables, right? Being deliberate, being decisive, and not really trading with any of that hopium. That's really what I want to do. Now, from an improvements perspective here, the thing that I want to get a little bit better at, right, is the trade that I had there yesterday. We had good entry, was green right away, fake out, breakdown back to entry price, and then stop out. I'm specifically thinking about the second trade there of the day. I don't need to take that stop loss there, at least not a full stop loss. And that's something that I want to get a little bit better at doing. I sometimes am willing to eat that loss for whatever reason. So I want to stop doing that. That for me, I think is a like low hanging fruit that I can fix, I think, pretty easily. So that's really going to be a little bit of a focus here as well. If I see a failed move, especially post entry early on, I don't need to get like pot committed to that idea just because I had a good entry or because I was green early. I would rather be not in a stressful trade than in a stressful trade, right? I think ultimately is what that comes down to. And really, where the focus wants to rely. I mean, I try to read a lot of trading books and just like get ideas, right? Whatever. And I read Reminiscences of a Stock Operator a couple weeks ago, and it's been one line from that book has been like really rattling around in my head. I think since I read it, and effectively, it's that you don't get paid for being early, and yeah, you know, Eric, you're the second person that's mentioned that. To me, I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. Let me let me see if I can figure something out there. That might be something that has to get taken care of after the stream or when things are a little bit slower. But yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But yeah, so objective here today, right? Control the variables I can't control. Don't get paid for being early, right? I don't get paid for being early on a trade. So I don't want to get too pot committed to that. But I think that we have a reasonable situation that we could possibly get some momentum with here, and looking forward and optimistic, right? That we could have some oomph here today. So yeah, with that being said, right, let's start mapping things out here. Let's figure out what we want to do, and then let's go from there. I mean, pretty much all the economic news here was going to be in the pre-market here with CPI. We're going to have a little bit of Fed speak, but that's not going to be till later on. So yeah, should be a little bit of a smoother day. Uh no, people are just having some issues with the indicator. There's like a runtime error on the DTR indicator, and so it's not loading for some people. I don't think that they're having any issues with candlesticks. If you are, maybe try different like web browser. I know personally on my laptop that TradingView doesn't like to cooperate very well with Safari. I'm sure it also has some other browsers that it can sometimes struggle with. All right, so we're going to call this a 2 out of 3 here to the upside without volume. So we have weak trending price action, right? And we're looking for strength to basically show up and to create a level of enthusiasm. Now we're at our yesterday's, right, pre-market target of 63.40. So we're going to be looking 63.50, right? And then that pushes us all-time highs. So we're just going to go 10 points along the way towards like 6,400. To the downside, right? Rejection or fake out here above highs certainly could give us a scenario to get back into that chop range, right? With an ultimate target there of like 62.50. That'd be about 90 points from where we're at here today. That'd be a pretty big move. For a downside target here, we're going to start at 63.20, and then we can go down to 62.50. There we go. Okay. Whoops. All right. All right, NQ, pretty similar, right? Maybe it looks a little bit like a flag breakout or a channel breakout or a wedge breakout, right? I mean, trend line bounce there, right? There's kind of your upper trend line, something like that. So you're looking again, right, for that all-time high breakout. A NQ is definitely going to be driven a little bit more by NVIDIA and AMD here today. They have unlocked the Chinese market, right, with some chips specifically for that region. And that's really driving up the tech-heavy index here this morning. So watching them, right, is going to be the key element here. If they go full psychotic squeeze mode, I think, you know, that gives us a scenario where we can probably be pretty aggressive. Again, it's a 2 out of 3 to the upside without volume, and then we're looking for a breakout towards 23.4, right? Realistically, I think would be the target, and then probably just pushing up towards like 24,000. The other element we kind of want to be a little bit aware of here today is just the implied volatility, right? So, you know, as much as this is a really good sized move, maybe the big concern here is that that move is happening pretty much in the entirety of the pre-market. The overnight range here, or the implied volatility, is 16.56 on the VIX, which gives us about an implied range of like 1%. Right? You take the daily VIX reading and you divide it by 16. And we're pretty much at that move here now, right? So obviously it's not that it can't happen. Actually, a really good indication here of a trend day or like really good, strong trending markets would be a breakout outside of the normal range, right? Or the implied range. That for sure would give us a possible indication there of sort of that like trend day type scenario. But what we've seen here consistently is that those moves get muted, and you know, we would like to be prepared for that. So if we don't see like a tremendous amount of enthusiasm here this morning, or like a level of pre-market or post-market engagement, it'd be a really good scenario, right, for us to be able to basically play mean reversion looks or like failed breakouts, and then basically close back towards sort of the trend lines or sort of those pre-market breakout spots that have been established post CPI. To the downside here, we're at 23.2, right? So we're going to be looking for a move back down towards 23, and then yesterday's low of 22.7. And then we can go, I mean, down to 500 maybe. That's a lot of space, so I don't need to be super aggressive there. But yeah, it could be very interesting, right, if we can get some nice enthusiasm this morning. All right, CL, breaking down here to the downside, 3 for 3 technically, not a tremendous amount of volume, right? Like it's strong volume, but it's not like strong volume, right? So it wouldn't be surprising for us to get bigger volume than what we saw there yesterday. But based on maybe general context, this could be the start of like a little bit of a flag breakdown, maybe a channel breakdown, however you want to kind of describe it. Yeah, certainly could be in play. We'd be looking at what, like 67.50 really is our starting point there to the upside. But I would say my bull case here is with extreme prejudice, right? We'll say caution. To the downside is probably a little bit easier. So 66 would be our starting point here to the downside. And then we're looking maybe for a move down towards like, I mean, 64 probably would be the reasonable target here today. It'll give me a lot of space if it can break down for sure. All right, Apple 1 for 3 here to the downside. Tesla 1 for 3 here to the downside by the looks of it. Yep. So kind of indecisive there yesterday, right? Makes sense based on what we saw. Microsoft inside bar. So again, formal consolidation. The big concern again, right, is that the breakout is just happening here pre-market. Amazon looks like an inside bar. Volume doesn't want to load. So again, more formal consolidation. Here's where we're going to start to see craziness, right? NVIDIA with a really big gap up here. Again, 1 for 3. Same thing with AMD here, except this is a 2 out of 3 without volume. Same thing, big gap up on China news. Okay, Meta, green candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So we'll call this a week 2 out of 3 without volume. Netflix, green candle, actually held above the previous candle high, which I like. Decreasing volume, gap up. So we'll call this a 2 out of 3 without volume. And then the old Google, green candle, decreasing volume, gap up. So again, 2 out of 3 there. Hey, Narav. Yeah, sorry. Not sure if I quite understand your context. Well, where's that price come from? All right, so let's market open. Let's see how the day goes. Yeah, my guess here, guys, because I'm not getting the error right, which I'm fine is what it is. But I wonder if they just released a new version of PineScript and the version that it's coded on is out of date. That's really what my guess is. So we'll take a look at that at some point, but truth be told, not the number one priority right now. All right. So far, NQ kind of holding 200 pretty well. ES though looking stronger than NQ here early. Okay, didn't hold 200. Okay. Well, I certainly wouldn't trust these the selling pressure here early yet on the indexes, right? If all of our leading names are kind of telling us a little bit more strength than selling pressure. Meta may be the exception, Netflix may be the exception, Google may be the exception. But that probably then, if anything, right, just tells us indecision. So I'm going to be patient here. No need to rush this. Not a great sized range on the old CL. Like to see that be maybe a little bit more impressive. It's good volume on the open, but it's not bigger than yesterday's open. So 16.7 here. But yeah, we can get an early bullish failure, play like a red to green reversal. That might be the easiest setup here if we're going to get a excuse me, if we're going to get a look to the upside. Let's see. We're getting mean reversion alerts everywhere. That's something I've done for a while. minute 40 seconds to go. Maybe we can get increasing volume there on the second candle. Seeing an increasing volume standard on the second candle of the day can often be a really good indication, right, of trending conditions in one direction or the other, at least on the indexes, because it doesn't happen too often. So that's kind of what I'm kind of crossing my fingers for here a little bit. 10 seconds to go seems less likely now. Looking sharp there for a second. Okay. Nope. Still kind of strong. But now things are looking a little bit more consistent here, at least. There's a few outliers. Like Nvidia is pushing higher. That's kind of interesting. I just haven't said anything for a while, Ghost. As much as I would love to be able to talk, for the full 19 minutes or the full 2 hours, sometimes there's nothing to say. So I don't really have any active, like, I don't really have any hope for any of these candles to turn into confirmation here. So it's just requiring a little bit of patience, being letting it kind of figure out what it wants to do here, and then just keeping an eye on the leading names here in the short term, and seeing if that divergence can effectively resolve itself. I think that's what it's going to take for us to get a nice little clean bit of price action. The way that you can check, right, if you're having any audio issues or not, is you can see in the Discord that I have like a green bubble around my name when I'm talking. And if you see the green bubble but you can't hear anything, then maybe you have some tech issues. This is just it's like a Blue Yeti, I think it is, or a Yeti microphone or something like that, just like some USB mic. And no increasing volume there. Same thing on the 5. I mean, this should give us that increasing volume standard here. If this candle doesn't, that would be quite the upset. Here now, right, we've gone through 63.20. So now on ES to the downside, we'd be targeting 63.10. NQ might be a little bit easier within that context because we're still trading within the 2R range. And if it had a bigger move pre-market, right, kind of sets you up for a bigger sell-off post-open. Okay, so let's see if we can get strong closes. It needs to be a very high conviction looking candle for me to want to believe in it. With 30 seconds to go or 25 seconds to go, we got a lot of work to do. It needs to look like 1, 2, or 3 right now. It looks a little bit like a disgusting love child between normal bearish and least bearish. So I'd like to see that become more consistent. It doesn't seem like it will on this candle. Excuse me. Right. It went back all the way to 150. Now it did hold under the previous low of day, but that's a lot of dip buyers defending it. Yeah, so far, no action here. Hard to want to be hyper aggressive yet. Apple's very strong. Microsoft is very strong. If we could just see Nvidia and AMD pop, I reckon we're setting up for red to green. So low conviction conditions here. Maybe we get a little reversal candle here setting up. I'm looking at price action here so far. It does kind of feel as if bulls have absorbed the selling pressure a little bit. Maybe this ends up printing a little bit like a reversal candle here. Okay, so NQ is going to be in business here, guys. Let's watch. This is setting up for that potential reversal scenario here. Excuse me. All right. So target for now would still be this 2R range. It's my internet freeze. What's going on? So for now, stop loss would be 160. Okay, yeah, 160. Reference price 171. Oh, 23, 160. Kind of going full squeeze mode here. Let's see. I want to see a gentle pullback here now into our entry area, right? We have a chance. One more tick. Are you kidding? Oh. Well, looking for a long here, right? Looking for a long. Be patient. Not a very strong looking pullback here. This could be the fake out, right? And then we get the stop loss get established. Now it'd be 156, 155. Okay, obviously not a good reaction there, right? To the reversal signals will be wait. Well, no trades here yet. High of my confirmation candle, right? So this was my confirmation candle. The high of that was approximately 171 or whatever it was. So I'm just drawing it at the high of my confirmation, right? Kind of a weird open, I would say. A lot of mixed stories that are making this a little bit challenging to find a consistent narrative on. And not a good enough looking candle shape to want to go short. Not enough volume to call that like a reversal. CL's just not giving me a clean look there in either direction, so can't really trust that. ES and NQ not really giving us any form of reasonable separation away from like the, I don't know, low slash midpoint of the opening range. So kind of like a little bit of a stuck market here in the short term. Would like to see a bit more of a resolution here. $150 is kind of acting like support here on NQ, but not at enough of a level of enthusiasm where it triggers an entry opportunity. At least not from my perspective. I don't trade futures on stocks. No. All right. Again, right? Nothing of interest here yet. one candle up, one candle down, one candle up, one candle down. So I think just us telling ourselves, right, to start the day off, expect it to be choppy until we get a proven otherwise. I mean, it's definitely the right mindset, I think, to have taken here so far. Albeit, I don't know, feels maybe a little bit boring here today. Again, this doesn't exactly tell me strong bears, right? If they break down and then we're just holding 150 for so long, right? Kind of hard to be super enthusiastic about it. CL may be setting up for like a little bit of a reversal, but the volume feels really, really light today, right? Especially compared to what we normally see, which gives me just a little bit of pause. I have zero complaints with the number of trades that I get, Narev, and I'm more willing to trade my edge than just to trade some trendy, hot, flashy name. So, respectfully, I would significantly disagree with your statement. If the general indexes aren't moving, the market's not going to move either, right? And if things are reacting to earnings, they're going to happen in the overnight price action, generally not the reaction here during the session, right? So yeah, I have no problems with my trading strategy, with the number of trades I get. So I don't need to crave more action or to look for more opportunities. I'm here to execute my edge, not to feel busy. See if the market has any element of enthusiasm here. Doesn't feel super enthusiastic yet. So we need to see a breakdown under low of day, right, on increasing volume. That's okay, but it's not outlier, right? So that's why we're not trading it. Maybe a little bit better here on the 5. That might be more in play. Risk reward is okay here. Again, I'm not super thrilled about that reaction. Like, it's not super enthusiastic. Honestly, this so far has been a day where if you were just bored, you would have lost your money. Or you traded because you're bored, you would have just lost your money. I'm happy to have not done that. But would like some enthusiasm here at some point. Be looking at a 321 stop loss on ES for now. If it pulls back much more than that, then I'm going to struggle. What I like about this here for now is it's using the previous low of day as our area of support for continuation here to the downside. That's a pretty positive reaction, I would argue. Problem here though is there's just such little buffer, because ideally, right, you want the low of your confirmation candle to be kind of like your reference price. The fact that it's consolidating right above that low maybe gives me just a little bit of pause here. This could be interesting. Move towards 67. Okay, so now we're watching right to the downside here. 321 would be the stop loss. And we need it to pull back into like 1825. I don't know if it's going to do that here. So I got 45 seconds to go on this CL, so keep an eye. This is breaking down there. Again, NQ might be more tradable here to the downside because we've got more space. ES a little bit less space, right? Which complicates things here just a smidge. But it's got to close pretty much under that blue line. CL is stalling here after this little pop. The reason I'm not trading this on the 3, right, for those of you who are asking, is I wasn't watching this, right? So I have a chance to get confirmation there on the 5, maybe looking a little bit less likely now. It looks a little bit like a fake out. It's too far for me to do the aggressive technique here. I'm not going to get that pullback. I would need to get pullback using the pullback technique. And then ideally, right, you'd like your entry to be bouncing off of previous high a day, which is about here. But that is not going to give me the risk reward ratio that I want, right? It would need to be a deeper pullback than that, which starts to get a little bit intimidating. Where again, I'm probably not holding support in the same way that I would anticipate. And Q kind of maybe giving us a little bit of a baby reversal here. ES, good candle, not enough volume on that reversal. So we're still gonna be pretty patient here. We have a chance on these 10 mins, which would be interesting. Yeah, I think honestly, this team so far, I think we've done a pretty good job just not getting in our own way here today. We've had one trade set up. Nothing else really that appealing. Kind of kill for a clean reversal here. And again, guys, right? If you're 37 minutes into your trading day and you're like jonesing for a trade, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't taken any action here yet. Oh my God. Like if you're feeling like that, right? You're not putting yourself in a very healthy trading mindset. You just want to trade if everything matches your rules, not to feel something, right? Not to feel alive. You're trying to make trades so that you are entertained or that you make money or you do whatever. All you're doing is you're setting yourself up to lose, right? Because the second the trade doesn't go your direction and you can't accept that P&L number, you're just going to keep compounding mistakes until you blow up. So we stick to our system, we stick to our rules, right? We trade our technique. We refuse to deviate away from it. There's always something in the market that's going to be moving. There's always going to be something there that could have given you life-changing money. But if all we're doing is looking for that huge mega win, we're never actually going to find it. We're actually going to make a lot more money by compounding good decisions, stacking up base hits, right? And actually being consistent with our decision-making process. We don't make big money trading by swinging for bigger hits. We make money trading with a consistent and repeatable process. So there's always something that is moving. That's not our objective. Our objective here is to catch moves that follow our rules, not to try to bend them so that we can make money. I think you guys have even seen it in my trading here in the past, right? When I start to bend trading rules or start to get flexible with them just so that I can be profitable or I can work my way back into a green day or do whatever, those are high stress situations. Those are trades where the vast majority of people don't make any money, and it ends up being more frustrating than it is rewarding. So if I know that that's the punishment that I feel internally, right, for when I break my rules, why would I want to do anything that ever makes me feel that way, right? When I instead can be patient, I can be deliberate, right? I can be disciplined, and I can just wait for my perfect A+ pitch. All right, we've got a possible 10-minute reversal scenario here on the indexes. Right, would very much be interesting here. We've not seen an enthusiastic reaction from bears all morning. Definitely a potential, right, for bulls to be able to defend and really reclaim control here. Now we kind of have a double reference price, right? This 168.25 has acted as support here or resistance twice. We'd like to see that area of resistance for sure act as support. Well, let's give this a second here, but this looks very, very promising. Stop loss, right, guys, would be 160. 160. And let's see if we can get a gentle little pullback here now. It doesn't give me the look on the 10. I mean, might have literally just missed my entry there. We can retry this on like either the 15-minute time frame, right, which closes in 4 minutes, and it should give me the same signal, or right on like the 3-min if we can get an increasing volume profile. I can't even take this with one contract here yet, so it still would need to see a deeper pullback. Okay. Ooh. Not increasing there on the 3. Okay, so we're 18, 20 points here. I mean, you can maybe buy one contract. I don't know if I want to spend all this time setting something up just to get a really just a one contract play on a kind of a extended entry. I'm not sure if that's a great use of my mental capital. Okay, we're getting a little bit closer. CL now breaking down to the downside. That's pretty interesting. Pretty aggressive failed rejection, breakdown thesis. 41 to 48. It's not bad. Still would prefer to trade NQ to the upside. I think that's the easier trade. Yeah, Narev, I don't know if you got to be listening here, man. I've been talking about looking for a possible entry here on NQ for the last 5 minutes. Just full disclosure, man. Next time you ask a question like that, I'm just going to ignore it. We got to be able to pay attention here over what I'm doing. It's not particularly complicated. My red line is my stop loss. My white line is my profit target. I'm looking for an entry here on the 10-min time frame. That's what we've been doing here for the last 5 minutes. Please, let's focus. Okay, we have an also same potential opportunity here on the 15, right? 20 seconds to go. So we're looking for that same reversal signal, right? But hopefully just try to be able to get an entry this time on this time frame instead of missing it like we did on the 10. Okay. So let's see where it finds support. But for now, stop loss would be like 186. See if it finds support though. Okay, good reaction. So let's we can get a little pullback here. Hey guys, I am in average price, kind of a bad fill, 196, 2 contracts, stop loss at 186. Really bad fill. Okay, I just got stopped out. Might try this again here. Gave me that little fake out scenario. Terrible entry. Stop loss now would have to be 183. Okay, so again, watching here. Still no, right? Still no. You want to see it turn that blue line into support. They didn't do that. Now looking potentially like a rejection. And if we're going to play a bearish thesis, right, move back down to the downside, it has to be towards low of day. Okay. So for sure looking for a downside move here. You're looking like this, right? Stop loss would be 178 for now. Let's see if it can break down, or maybe this will be giving us the pullback technique here to give us a stop loss of 198. I'd prefer the aggressive personally to be a 184 stop loss. Okay, but if I get the pullback here, it'd be 200 stop loss. Reference price, I'd go like 188. Basically where I've seen the wick start, right? So where I've seen the sellers really defend. Now 188 is my reference price. So if it's going to be pullback technique, it's here. If it's going to be aggressive technique, it's going to be low of my confirmation, right? Well, here would be 11 points of a stop loss. So what's 11 times 20? We really need to be able to understand how much we're risking per trade and if that matches our max loss number or not, right? At 11 points a contract, I could trade 2 contracts and still be within my max loss number. But we got to be able to do that calculation ourselves, because if we don't know how much we're risking, we're never going to feel comfortable with the trade. Never, right? So like you wouldn't hire someone to redo your bathroom without knowing how much it's going to cost you. You shouldn't be taking a trade unless you know how much it's going to cost you. And if you're not happy with that cost, size down, right? If you think it's too cheap, size up. But your position sizing, right, is something that is like it's a personal question, right? Because everyone reacts differently to a different amount of contracts or a different number. So people need to be selfish over what their position sizing is. And the only way that you can do that is if you understand how to calculate your risk. Like there's nothing I can say, team, in a trade that'll make you feel less anxious once you're in it. The only way that you remove or reduce that anxiety when you're trading is to understand the risks that you're taking and why you're making certain decisions. So the only way to feel comfortable with your trades is to be proactive, not reactive. Okay, so we're back, possibly looking here for that bull case on the 15. That would be a 169 to 191, right? So 22 points of risk, 22 times 20, right? 440. So by default, right? I know I'd be looking at one contract. So instantly, right? I can set that expectation for myself and I know, okay, I'm looking at a one contract play. I don't have to think about it more than that. And that's literally all it takes, right? So we need to be having those conversations with ourselves, guys. I can't bail you out there. It's not how it works. Okay, so we're looking at a 168.50 stop loss. Okay, guys, I am in average price 189.50, one contract. Not a great reaction. Definitely early on this entry. Yeah, that's twice in a row here. Not super thrilled with my entries. Yeah, not a great feeling being early. Now, the balance here, right? This is a 15 min time frame trade. Like these generally take a little bit longer, right, to kind of put themselves together a little bit. The reaction feels suboptimal. Took the stop there. Minus 440. That's quite frustrating. ES, right? Didn't break down under the lows. Yeah, I'll take 2 trades where I'm not super happy with my entries. Here this morning. See y'all just doing all sorts of fucky stuff. Yeah, it's not that necessarily our thesis was wrong on the 15. I think it's fine. It just the timing was just a little bit too early. And the entry certainly didn't help. Yeah, frustrating. $7.30. So problem here now, right on the 15, is I can't get the position sizing I want, right? If you're risking about 30 points now instead of 25 or less. So that makes it a little bit challenging to trade, I would argue. This will be close. Okay, maybe I could play aggressives from here. Higher high, higher low. So again, it would have to look like this. Pretty much is a similar situation, right? You're looking at a 167 stop. Yeah, a little bit of a divergence. Still not being able to break down under the low, though. That for sure, I would think, would slow you down, at least for a bear case scenario. The thing that's annoying me, I would say, the most is CL. Both breakouts that happened on volume have failed in kind of like an aggressive way. Hard to look at them as very appealing moves here yet. So yeah, down about $850 here on the day so far. Not a tremendous feeling. I don't know. I don't want to see the streak end like this, but I also don't want to press too aggressively just for the sake of keeping it alive. The reason why the streak has kind of gone on for as long as it has is because of the obsession over following processes, right, and following rules after catching, right, myself kind of maybe being a little bit looser with them. So priority, right, becomes to being as structured and disciplined as possible, not necessarily optimizing for P&L. That's why I get annoyed when people want me to chase trades. Tends to not work out because it's kind of like the opposite, right, of what discipline is. Okay, maybe a fake out scenario here. 61. It's good volume, but it's a terrible candle shape. It's another bearish failure in a long stream of bearish failures today. This is really a market that does not want to give us any range or separation here today. It's annoying. Again, no confirmation there. I really think that the most likely outcome now is dip buyers or consolidation. Hard to give bears any credit really still after we've seen them basically struggle to push down since the opening candle low. Hard to give them any credit for that. CL is in a weird mood today too. I don't know. Rusty, are you in this 2-minute reversal? It might be your bread and butter, man. Nice. Okay. Killing it, dude. Love it. Almost time to sell my Palantir here. I'm trying to get like a little bit of a 150 breakout and then I'm selling. And min could be in play here across the board. ES may be more likely than NQ. Don't get to say that too often. Or at least not on purpose. Okay, so we're looking for a strong close, as close to 312 as we can get. Right, 312 or better probably. And doesn't seem like it wants to. Oh, still got a little bit of time. Hmm. Punchy stop, that would be required on ES. CL would need to break out above high a day. It not wanting to do that's going to be a little bit concerning. Really thinking about this. The stop would be like 163. And I'm trying to be very, very patient here. I'd say both of my entries today have been a little bit too jumpy. Okay, so watching here, team. One contract. I'm in short 147.25, 147.25, one contract. And this thing pretty much went instantly. $147.25, $147.25. Yeah, let's see if this thing can keep breaking down here. Not a super enthusiastic reaction here again. This was kind of a sympathy thesis with ES. ES isn't breaking down. Hmm. 314 now on ES. And took the stop loss again. Minus 315. Kind of getting beat up a little bit here. Kind of a frustrating trading day. 27 green days in a row. And today I just kind of keep getting weekly stopped out of everything. It's annoying. keeping the losses small right here so far. Losses of 315, 440, right, and like 400. So doing what I can, but the way it goes sometimes. They stopped this out by 2 points. Crazy unlucky. Oh, that's so mean. Oh man, I can't believe I got shaken out of that by 2 points. That's so mean. So mean. Nice, Eric. Congratulations. And this might be giving me another opportunity here to push towards like 23. Been a weird morning. All right, let's watch. We got another opportunity here. Oh, painful, painful, painful. Okay, good close. Question is 89 or 1. I think I'm going to go to 23. Okay, so stop loss would be 126. Reference price 115. Maybe can get to 2 here. Okay, watching closely here, team. Watching closely. A little bit too fast of a pullback. Just wait, give it a sec. Okay, better. So let's see if we can get a retest of that blue line, right, from the bottom up. Okay, guys, I am in. Average price 117.75. Stop at 126. Start up alerts. Okay, now let's see if this thing can really start to crack and break down. Well, so far, so good here. So far, so good. We have to be careful around this reaction at 100, right? You have to be careful. Should be a 2 out of 3 post-entry candle here by the looks of it. I do think we are going to get a test and potentially, hopefully, a breakdown here under 100. That can happen on some enthusiasm. We're going to be in good shape here. If it's going to fuck around like this, I'm going to be pretty annoyed. Ugh. Worst possible reaction. Got a break here. Come on, flush, flush, flush. 107 to 110 in a tick is not great. Okay, watch this 100 crack here. Watch this 100 crack, team. Now we want to see a decent size flush, right? Decent size flush. We want to see separation away from 100, not 100 to act like a magnet. I'm on. Here we go. Oh, come on. Ooh. Gosh, what a terrible reaction again. Come on, just die here, NQ. I'm not asking for much. Okay, watch the flush here, team. Watch the flush. We're still looking for that like aggressive feeling failure. I'm fighting a little bit of a feeling here though. And the feeling is self-imposed. It's not one created by the market. It's like a little bit of pressure to want to trade this to get back to green. Feeling a little bit of that type of pressure. And I think a lot of it is just influence because I want to keep the streak going, obviously. So acknowledge that out loud, right? So that I can manage those expectations better and make a better decision. Not really behaving the way that I would like, though. This kind of sucks. It's weird. I feel both annoyed with this reaction, but also calm. It's kind of an oxymoron, but I feel weirdly calm about this trade. Hmm. Gosh. This is bouncy and slow. It's gonna take this long. Sounds good, Jerry. Enjoy. I just took the stop. Oh, for fuck's sake today. The only thing I would have left to be able to trade. And I think it's too late. I'm kind of annoyed today. That was frustrating. It's an annoying way for the streak to end. Oh, minus 310 on that. This is confirmation, failed breakdown. 0 for 3 here so far today. Annoying. Okay, so it'd be stop loss of 125. Reference price about 140. Okay, still looking here. I keep that risk tight. Okay, now would be this 136.50 stop loss. About 136, keep the math simple. Hey guys, I am in average price 144.25, stop loss 136. 3 contracts. I've been stopped out again. So I'm going to call it here for the day, team. I'm obviously not seeing the market well. I've tried tried to trade within my rules. I think I did that reasonably well. I just could not get markets to follow through for me here today. It's a really frustrating way to end the winning streak. 27 green days in a row is going to be ended here today. Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion about that already inside the Discord. I don't have the energy to answer and repeat myself on these questions right now. I've already addressed it in the stream here today. Go back and watch it. I'm not going to repeat myself. Just TradingView has made an update. The indicator is on an old version, so it needs to be updated. So yeah, unfortunately, Bit of a red day here today. Oh, yeah, it finally ends. 27 days green. Then about, almost 2K down here on the day. So definitely gave back a little bit more P&L than I probably should have here today. I don't know. I felt, I'm just like playing it back in my head here right now, but felt a little bit of pressure here today. And a self-imposed pressure, right? Just like thinking and like I was looking for validation from the P&L here today more than I was necessarily like being super good on the process. Like I don't think I didn't take any trades that broke any rules. I think I had 2 trades where I let them go green to red, and 2 trades where I let wins turn into losses. And both of those like outcomes are symptoms of greed, right? They're symptoms of like ego trading to a certain extent, right? Which I think again goes back to the streak, where it's like I felt like, oh, everything I'm touching is turning to gold, like it'll be fine type emotion. Yeah, kind of a bittersweet, a really bittersweet trading day here. Well, for sure, Tony, and the reason why I say it out loud, right, and the reason why I do it now is because I'll forget these thoughts, right, tomorrow afternoon, or um yeah, like these are the thoughts that are important. These are the ones that I need to learn and track and study. And they're also the details that I'm probably most likely to forget tomorrow, next week, right? Whatever. So of course, I say this all the time. It's one of my favorite sayings. But if I want to be a profitable trader, I can lie to everyone but myself. So like if I'm not willing to be like brutally honest with myself and try to give like objective feedback, then I'm never going to get better, right? And I'm never going to improve. And yeah, Ian, like it was a frustrating outcome, but it was the frustration was exaggerated because I expected myself to be green more so than I expected myself to be like maybe a good trader. I like really desperately craved my P&L validation here today and needing the validation from the number. And it wasn't the actual P&L number, it was the validation of 28 green days in a row, 29 green days in a row. Like that's the feeling I was addicted to. And it was the obsession over needing to hit that actually prevented me from having a green day because I was up $1,000 on that last trade. I was up $500 on another one. I cut my 2 losers after they faked me out, and I'm up $800 on the day, maybe a bit more. So, purely self-sabotaged day, right? So maybe it wouldn't have been a day where I necessarily would have been a monster mega win, but it also shouldn't have been a day where I lost more than my max loss number. And so that's ultimately where the frustration comes from. Because it's it was an unnecessary, like I added unnecessary roadblocks for myself here today. I made things harder than they needed to have been. And so that's what I would like to fix and improve and focus on, right? The reality is that we're always going to find new ways to kind of like self sabotage ourselves. And so we have to be really aggressive, I think, in how we learn from those moments of self sabotage so that they become just moments, not patterns. But yeah, I guess all good things do have to come to an end. And it was an epic month and a half. But yeah, it's just a shitty way for that to end. Keep trading it until you can't, John, right? So don't give up, right? Would be my advice. There's still something that you can learn from that, from that account, right? So I would try to execute those concepts as best as you can until you can't. Like I understand transitioning from a previous style or a previous course and like fighting through those bad habits isn't easy. But you already paid for it. You've already have access to it. So I would try to trade with micros, see if you can build up a little bit of a buffer and see if you can create some confidence for yourself. I think the way that you start to feel good about who you are as a trader is when you make mistakes and then recover above them or through them. So like blanket resetting almost I think gives you an opportunity to, or like reduces your opportunity or removes your opportunity to be able to create that confidence inducing event. And so I would challenge myself to want to accomplish that. Yeah, any questions here, team? So final call for questions here, team. Final call for questions. Oh yeah, I mean, Ian, like it's not. Yeah, I'm not disappointed in the outcome. Right, the outcome is awesome. Been a great month and a half. It's been tremendous. I'm disappointed that I made things more difficult for myself than I needed to have. Right. So it's the disappointment doesn't come from the result. The disappointment comes that I allowed myself to be ego tied, right, to the streak. That I didn't keep it individual, like it almost became a part of my trading personality here today. That's the frustrating part. The frustrating part isn't the outcome. The frustrating part isn't the previous 27 days. It's the frustrating part is that over those 27 days, I didn't do what I did here today, right? Over those 27 days, I didn't attach my ego to what my streak was. Today I did, and then today that's when the streak ends. So that's the frustrating part. Like it's not the outcome. The outcome is awesome. But I'm not judging myself based on my outcome. Like my self-worth doesn't come from the number in my bank account, right? Like my self-worth and the value I feel for about myself, or like how confident I am in a human, is not based on that. It's based on me behaving how I would like to behave, right? And doing the things that I say I would do. Basically being like a man of integrity, right? So being a trader of integrity is something that I also value tremendously and put a lot of my self-worth into. I enjoy being a speculator. I enjoy this game. It is a big part of who I am. And it is disappointing when you don't feel like you behaved that way. You don't feel like you lived up to the standards you want to hold yourself to. Because when you do that consistently, you know that you have bad outcomes. You know that things don't go well. So it's like, why does that ego driven space feel so comfortable, right? Like that's the frustrating part. Like all things considered, right? It's one day. One day. I've been trading for 13 years. Like one day doesn't move the needle, right? Doesn't change my life, doesn't ruin it, doesn't make it. But it's like, yeah, every day you strive to be a certain type of trader or a certain type of person or a certain type of whatever. And on those days where you feel like you kind of fell for some of your old tricks and your old traps, those are just frustrating because it's like, oh man, like I know better. And I think the other element here, I mean, I talked about this in the pre-market, right? Like I wanted to be more aggressive, protecting myself from fake outs, where I'm go green P&L to red P&L. And had I just focused on doing that, right, I would have been pretty nicely green here on the day. Instead, right, I deviated away from that and traded ego and needed the full complete win instead of being able to kind of play it scrap by scrap. So the frustrating element isn't the P&L. It's that I made my job much more difficult than it needed to have been here today. And you just feel like an idiot when you make when you make life more difficult unnecessarily, right? So that's all it is. Uh, I'm sure that I'll be able to overpower that feeling here today when I feel like an idiot for running up a hill for 2 hours, and I realize how far I've got to run to get back to my car and how much my legs hurt. So like I'll create a new worse feeling for myself here later, but that's a part of it. And yeah, Tony, like That's the reality, right? Like every trader loses. Every trader will have a bad day. Every trader is going to struggle. And I think a part, or like at least for myself, one of the realities about trading is that I hate losing more than I like winning, right? Like the feeling of losing feels worse than the feeling of winning feels good. So just understanding that and sitting in it is totally fine. But then it's also about yeah, just like finding a way to get back to baseline, right? That's really what my objective is going to be here rest of this afternoon. Obviously do some calls and talk with a few of you. But then it's do some exercise, eat something good, see a friend or something, and like really just get back to a nice baseline, remind myself life is good. Again, I've no reason to really complain. But yeah, kind of just a frustrating trading day. And not frustrating because of the market, not frustrating because of the quote unquote conditions, frustrating because I made things more difficult for myself than I needed to. All right, team. Any other questions here? I'm kind of tired of talking about my problems. Yeah, oh no, we'll be fine, Ian. We'll be fine. That's just that's what this game is, right? It just requires a tremendous amount of self-reflection. And again, none of one of those things, right? I have to hold myself to a standard that would make most people uncomfortable if I want to be in the top 1%, right? So if I want to be in the top 1% of anything, if I want to be a top 1% trader, if I want to live a top 1% lifestyle, if I want to drive a top 1% car, if I want to live in a top 1% home, if I want to have a top 1% of freedom, then I can't behave like 99% of other people, right? That's the simple cheat code. So I will always be my own harshest critic. It's to a certain extent what has gotten me to this point here. But I also know how to, yeah, force myself back to a baseline and make myself feel good at the end of the day. So that will be the objective here too. But like always, looking forward to catching up with a few of you here in our one-on-ones later today. And yeah, hopefully we can kind of get back to some nice smooth trading conditions there tomorrow. Still green on like 87 or 88% of my days here on the year. So it happens. And yeah, part of the game. But yeah, I wish today was a little bit, just avoid a little bit more of that self-sabotage. So same deal like always, team, right? If you have any questions, hit me up outside market hours. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But otherwise, have yourselves a tremendous rest of the afternoon, and I'll see you all tomorrow.